Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 17 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're jumping into the last episode with the Pheromosa Snorlax team that I've been featuring for a while. It's definitely been a really cool and fun team to use, and I'm going to post the QR code and the Pastebin for the team. It's starting in tomorrow's episode, so you guys can check that out and play with the team online and try it out yourself. So it should be exciting, and we'll be switching to a new team, most likely in tomorrow's episode. So we're going to find Jocario for our first opponent of the day, running a pretty cool team of Celesteela, Gyarados, Alola Marowak, Tapu Fini, the Mandibuzz, and the Togedemaru. So this definitely looks like a game where Alola Ninetales can thrive because of its ability to hit 3 of the 6 Pokemon for super effective and do neutral to Celesteela. The main threats I have to watch out about are the Marowak and the Togedemaru, but I feel like Tapu Fini maybe can cover that. Can lead with Mandibuzz potentially as well. Or not Mandibuzz, Persian. Fake Out is decent. Part of me wants Snorlax, but I don't know. There are actually a lot of anti-Snorlax things here because I can't touch Marowak. Togedemaru can Encore me, and Foul Play from the Mandibuzz really will just obliterate me. So, how do I want to lead this? No, I do have the Poison Z move with Pheromosa, but I feel like Fini, like, if you lead Mandibuzz and Fini, you're just going to protect turn 1. I guess I could go like Ninetales Arcanine since I'm banded, but then Fini probably won't protect. And Arcanine's kind of important here, considering what's in the back. Maybe I'll go Ninetales in my own Fini. Sure. That's not bad. And in the back, go with Arcanine and Pheromosa. Okay. I think you could make an argument for Persian or Snorlax in this game, but I'm going to choose not to bring those. So, I'm going to get into the first game of today's episode. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Ranked, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. In addition, I played in the April International Challenge this past weekend, and I'm curious if you guys want to share how you did and any cool teams or strategies that you saw. I played it all in one day. I wanted to stream it, but I was super busy, and so I kind of rushed to play as many games as I could on Sunday. So I played 33 out of my 45 games today. Ended up with a rating of over 1800, which was pretty exciting. But yeah, I'll definitely plan on streaming the next international challenge. This time I just had a super busy weekend, so I try to just play some games for some championship points. But we're gonna see the Marowak and the Tapu Fini combination from my opponent. Okay. So this is interesting, because obviously my Fini, is in a decent position. Ninetales here, probably wants to protect or switch out. I wonder if Marowak's going to switch out. Because I have Freeze Dry, I have an Aurora Veil. How important is... I don't want to take a Flare Blitz on a Muddy Water, so I think in turn 1 I'm just going to play it safe and protect and Muddy Water. Now one thing I do risk is if this Fini is Calm Mind Fini, but I do have the Z move in the back to deal with it. We don't see any switch outs here, so let's see if Marowak protects. No protect, that's good. And I'm faster. And Muddy Water connects. So that's the ideal turn 1 here where I get a ton of damage onto a Marowak. And next turn, I'm not in threat of getting knocked out immediately by something like a Flare Blitz. But we could just see a double up here into my Tapu Fini. I didn't consider that. As, ooh, that Moonblast does a lot and decreases my special attack, so that's not fun. And Shadow Ball comes out. It does target down my Tapu Fini. But it doesn't pick up the knockout, and I'm able to heal all the way back up there with my yummy, yummy Wiki Berry. So, that's nice. It's definitely fortunate. I wonder if that's Specs Fini based off that damage output. That did a lot of damage. I'm kind of worried now because I could choose to Moonblast Marowak, but with the special attack drop, that's probably not ideal. So, Muddy Water is probably the safest option here. I do want to set up an Aurora Veil, but I can also Blizzard. I don't think Blizzard plus Hail will knock... I mean, I guess Blizzard plus Muddy Water will knock it out. How important is Fini here? Fini did its job mainly against the Marowak, so I'm fine losing it. I think the best course of action is to just protect. And Muddy Water. No, I could have attacked there with Ninetales. Maybe I should have. Marowak switches out. Okay, that's fine. Into Celesteela. Okay. So I'm okay with this because this does give me an opportunity to bring in Arcanine next turn. And my Arcanine just threatens everything with Flare Blitz. Because even if I just get a little bit of additional damage here onto Lefinium. I think it's Specs, and so combination of Flare Blitz and Freeze Dry should be able to do a decent amount of damage, if not, or I mean, just pick up the knockout. Celesteela gets an accuracy drop there, which is nice as well, and Moonblast actually goes into the Ninetales. I was not expecting that. I'm fairly confident at this point that that's Specs Feeny. Pretty sure it is. So that is Specs Feeny. I mean, I can just switch into Arcanine and take the Moonblast, but if it's not Specs, then... Actually, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm like decently bulky. That Moonblast just did more than I expected. Switching into a Muddy Water would not be fun right now. I wonder if Freeze Dry plus Moonblast knocks out Feeny. I feel like probably. I'm at -1 though. You know what? I'm gonna switch an Arcanine here. Just because Ninetales is still pretty good in this game. Hell, no, Arcanine's is more important. To be honest, I got a little bit distracted just now with my roommate coming in to get something. So, I don't think I have played this game phenomenally well. Turn 1 went okay, but let's see. So, you get the Moonblast off. Yeah, use Moonblasting again into my Feeny this time around. So that will pick up the knockout. That's okay. And a Flamethrower. Flamethrower instead of Heavy Slam, that's interesting. I suppose that does catch Celesteela's off guard. Or sorry, Pheromosa, if I switch into that. Although, Heavy Slam will pick up the knockout anyway, I think. Either way, this is fine, because now I have Choice Band Arcanine, and I'm going to be able to bring in my Pheromosa. And so I'm threatening all Pokemon at once. You can't really safely switch out into anything either, since that Marowak is heavily damaged in the back. So, to be honest, it really comes down to what the last Pokemon is on my opponent's end. But I'm definitely going to bring in Pheromosa here. So, we haven't seen Mandibuzz yet. I'm wondering if my opponent even brought that in this game. Let's see who the last one could be. Nothing can switch into Flare Blitz. Gyarados is probably the best switch into that. I'm not going to Wild Charge, though, because I think I want to at least threaten the knockout of Celesteela, and I will just go for a... Do I need to Acid Downpour here? I want to Acid Downpour because it'll catch anything coming in off guard either. And I know this Feeny's not protecting right now. Could have High Jump Kick that slot, too. I guess worst case scenarios, if my opponent's last Pokemon is that... is that Gyarados, and Feeny switches out into Gyarados, and Celesteela survives the Flare Blitz. But it's Marowak coming in. So, I'm pretty sure Poisium Z-move should just knock it out. And we don't see a Protect from Celesteela, so that should just be a double knockout here. Part of one of the nice things about running Choice Band Flare Blitz on Arcanine is that you guarantee the knockouts on the Celesteelas. Unless, of course, they have the Aqua Berry. And so that's really crucial, because you can, you know, a lot of Celesteals will, like, stay in front of Arcanines and be like, oh, yeah, I'll take that Flare Blitz, no problem, because I know I can survive it. And it's not like Band Arcanine is that common, although it's something you should definitely anticipate. So I will be able to pick up the knockout there with Marowak with the Z move, and that does give me a Beast Boost as well. And Celesteela here, it could be, no, it's leftovers. I was going to say, could be Aqua Berry, but we saw the lefties ready. So Flare Blitz here, we'll pick up the knockout, and we're up 3-2 now, which is pretty good, especially because I still have Pheromosa threatening. Now it's at +1 attack as well. So it comes down to my opponent's last Pokemon. I was kind of surprised to see that my opponent didn't switch into the last one there. Probably expecting Marowak maybe to take a Poison Jab there. But instead I go for the Z move, pick up the knockout cleanly. We know there's the Tapu Fini in the back, and now really comes down to what my opponent's fourth Pokemon is. I suppose if it's Gyarados, could be scary. But I still have Ninetales in the back, which is very good. It's Togedemaru, that's perfect, yeah. So that's super good news for me, especially because it's Air Balloon. Yeah, so with Ninetales in the back, I'm just gonna... Actually, Feeny here probably Muddy Waters, right? But Hail expires soon, so I can just Flare Blitz and Poison Jab here. Because, yeah, if Togedemaru Spiky Shields, then I knock out Feeny, I win the game. The best play for my opponent here to make is probably fake out Pheromosa, but then Arcanine Flare Blitzes Togedemaru, and I win the 1v1 with Ninetales against Tapu Fini. So, I don't think my opponent has an out here. Just because of the speeds of my Pokemon and how they're faster than my opponent's. And Togedemaru actually opts for the Spiky Shield option. That's perfectly fine by me. So, Poison Jab will just come out and pick up the knockout. Yeah, so, there you're thinking, oh yeah, if Togamaru just fake outs you and Muddy Waters, like, aren't you screwed? And it's like, no, not really, because I'll still get the knockout there onto the Togedemaru, and I know I'm faster than the Feeny because I am max speed Arcanine, so I don't have to worry about that Feeny being really fast. And like I said, I'm fairly sure it was Choice Specs. I still don't know for sure, but given that we didn't see a Protect from it and it only went for Moonblast, decent chance that's the case. Either way now, I can just High Jump Kick and Flare Blitz, and I still have got Ninetales in the back, so I suppose theoretically I could lose this game still, because Togedemaru can knock out Arcanine, as it actually opts for the Spiky Shield, but that's definitely going to seal the game. I like the option to go for a Spiky Shield, though, knowing that the Pheromosa probably has High Jump Kick. Just getting insult to injury there, as I got the critical hit. So I think my opponent actually should have considered switching in Togedemaru instead of just sacking Marowak, because at least Togedemaru is resists poison. Sorry, not resist. It's immune to poison. And that's really big. So if you're expecting a poison jab there, which is, most Pheromosas carry, I don't really understand sacking the Marowak as opposed to just bringing in the Togedemaru, just because it's very unlikely I'm going to High Jump Kick that slot. So that could have given me some problems, but in the end, Pheromosa was really able to just snowball this game relatively quickly, and Feeny Ninetales ends up being a pretty good lead option. So, okay, we're going to find VJ from Michigan with a rating in the 1500s for our second opponent of the day, using a QR code team, so that should be interesting. The last game I tried to play right after the first one was actually a disconnection, like on the first turn, so kind of anticlimactic. So that actually put us in the 1800s, which was my goal with this team. But let's see if we can stick up there and win a game here too. It's not going to be easy because my opponent has a really scary team of Celesteela, Tapu Koko, Buzzwole, Alolan Raichu, Garchomp, and Aerodactyl. So a lot of really fast Pokemon, especially the Aerodactyl and Tapu Koko. Now one way I could kind of counter this is if I go Feeny Pheromosa. Actually, I kind of like that a lot. Feeny's pretty solid overall here. Feeny Pheromosa. CB Arcanine's really good here, and I feel like Ninetales is an appropriate last one. So I'm going really offensive here, so it's a shame. I don't know, I'd love to bring Snorlax, but there are multiple threats from my opponent's team. For example, Electro Ball from Koko, which is something we've seen more with Raichu Koko because it takes advantage of slow Pokemon like Snorlax and Porygon. Can I lead anything else? I mean, yeah, I have options, I guess. But I want Feeny Pheromosa because that, like, if my opponent goes with the Koko Raichu lead that I'm expecting him to, or her to, then I'll be able to immediately put on pressure with Pheromosa with the Z move. And even, I don't know, I mean, I'm kind of playing it by ear here, right? But I like my chances. Like, Arcanine Ninetales is super good against my opponent's entire team, too. I just have to get through, like, the core of Raichu Koko, but we might not even see that as a lead. In fact, one thing I'm concerned about is if my opponent brings, like, Raichu, but has Koko in the back. Although I guess if that's the case, then I can just outspeed and do a ton of damage, if not pick up a knockout immediately. The other question is, where's the Z move on that team? Maybe I could have brought Snorlax, because I feel like Buzzwole isn't going to come out in this game. But here's Feeny and Pheromosa, designed to counter the Koko Raichu, but instead we see Aerodactyl Koko. I think I'm okay with this, though, because, one, I've got the Z move, so I think I probably will just launch the Z move into Koko. And two, I can kind of just muddy water here, yeah. Question is whether Koko protects or not, but if my opponent doesn't know my team, then I can catch him or her off guard with the Z move. So I think I will just muddy water and go for the Poisium Acid Downpour into the Koko. So Koko doesn't protect, that's very, very good for me, because that'll be a single target Muddy Water going into Aerodactyl, which will probably put it in Band Extreme KO range, to be honest. Aerodactyl, not exactly the bulkiest of Pokemon. I wonder if Rock Slide just knocks out Pheromosa in one hit. I feel like it might. We also could see Skydrop, which would be scary. But, like, if you Skydrop here, that means you just get hit by a Muddy Water next turn, and it would mean, like, Koko faints unless Koko protects. Could be a possibility. But normally when you see Aerodactyl, you expect, like, Tailwind, Wide Guard, Skydrop, Rock Slide, Protect, Taunt. Combination of those attacks. Good play by my opponent actually switching out Koko into Garchomp, okay. I'm okay with that. No Protect here from the Aerodactyl. I mean, Koko is a problem at the end of the day, but, like, it's a bummer here, because if I knocked out Koko with a Poison Z move, honestly, that probably would have just won me the game. So my opponent maybe anticipated that or was scared in general of, like, a Life Orb Poison Jab and just wanted to switch out. Either way, Garchomp switching into Acid Downpour means it still should take, a decent amount of damage, and with Muddy Water, it's probably going to be in Band Extreme Speed KO range. And we do just see a Tailwind come out from my opponent. So I'm actually really happy about that because that means Pheromosa survives the turn. It also means that I can just stall out protecting the upcoming turns, and I don't miss the Muddy Water either, which is really important because that's a ton of free damage that I get off here. Oh, yeah. Getting a crit there on Aerodactyl, bringing it down to its sash. And decreasing accuracy, so lucky turn of events there. Double accuracy drop. Wasn't anticipating that, but we take those. I'm definitely double protecting here this first turn. Basically, at this point, like, I have 3 Pokemon in my opponent's team that is potentially in Pheromosa KO range. You know, Aerodactyl and Garchomp both faint from a Poison Jab and a High Jump Kick respectively, and the Tapu Koko in the back will take a ton of damage if not just get knocked out by Poison Jab, even at neutral. So, it's actually really good that my opponent set up Tailwind because my opponent already had the speed advantage outside. I suppose, like, you want to go for the Tailwind to outspeed Pheromosa. And I wasn't sure how much a Rock Slide would do, whether it would knock me out or not. It probably wouldn't have knocked me out, actually. So, I guess in retrospect, like, that, I mean, the Tailwind was a good play. And it's a safer option because now my opponent knows, oh, okay, I have 3 full turns to take advantage of where I know I'll be faster than my opponent. But the thing is, you know, I can double protect here, switch out one. Feeney's bulky enough to probably take a double target here. Garchomp could go for a Z move, but I do have that Arcanine with the extreme speed in the back. And I could switch into Ninetales as well to just get the Hail in for free. That actually might be what I do next turn. As we just see an Earthquake come out here. Yeah, probably just Earthquake Rock Slide if you're my opponent. Maybe Sky Drop. Oh, another important piece of information, though. That Garchomp went for the Earthquake before the Aerodactyl. So that's Scarf Chomp. So that's good to know. And with the double accuracy drop, like, my opponent could actually miss an attack or two. So I'm just going to launch a Muddy Water here. And since that's Scarf Chomp, Ninetales really isn't that important anymore, since my opponent's going to outspeed me even after Tailwind. So what's more important is conserving Pheromosa and Arcanine, because they both do immense amounts of damage to my opponent's team. At this point, you know, the reason why I brought Ninetales was to threaten these 2 Pokemon specifically, Aerodactyl and Garchomp, and maybe set up an Aurora Veil. But one thing is, Ninetales is slower than Tapu Koko anyway, and so even after Tailwind expires, like, Ninetales is going to be slower than the Garchomp, than the Aerodactyl, and the Koko, so that's why I'm fine just sacrificing it here. I think we saw a nerf from Aerodactyl, if I remember correctly, as Earthquake comes out. Oh, I feel so bad. Yeah, like, accuracy, Muddy Water is such a silly an attack. But we'll see, maybe I get flinched here to make up for it. Nope. And Muddy Water double connects too, so that's really fortunate. I mean, honestly, even if Earthquake double connected there, I would have been in a perfectly fine position. So, like, I wasn't fishing for Muddy Water accuracy drops at all. But it just makes this game a little bit easier for me. And, you know, the way you should look at RNG in Pokemon is, like, you shouldn't feel bad about it, although I do feel bad about it a lot of the times. And but basically, I think what's important in VGC is training yourself to win without relying on RNG at any point, but also being able to capitalize off the RNG you're given. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, luck is a part of the game, and a good player will be able to utilize the luck that is thrown in your way and maximize it. So, whether that means just making consistent safe plays, or, you know, being able to play more aggressively because of some luck like was thrown your way, you know, just stuff like that. But that's 2 turns of Tailwind stalled out already, or 3 technically if you include the first turn. Now I can just safely double protect. And we should be good. Yeah, I'm up 4-2 now with Arcanine in the back. So, I mean, if that Earthquake connected, it would have knocked out my Ninetales. In fact, that actually could have potentially helped me more, because the main issue is after Tailwind expires, both my Pokemon will still be slower than my opponents in that Koko, whereas if Ninetales fainted, I could have brought in Pheromosa, double protected, and then Pheromosa threatens Koko with a Poison Jab. So, that could have actually maybe hurt me a little bit more, but, I mean, obviously I'm not going to complain. Muddy Water, just hitting Muddy Water in itself, like, I'm happy enough. I never really care about the accuracy drop unless the game's reliant on it. And normally if I just see it connecting, I'll be like, oh, thank goodness, because hitting Muddy Waters can be so crucial in so many games. And we know Buzzwole isn't scarfed here since that Garchomp was scarfed. So, don't have to worry about that. Most Buzzwoles that you see in VGC are going to be Assault Vest or maybe a Z move. But that stalls out Tailwind, so now Buzzwole's slower. Koko is forced to Thunderbolt one of my 2 Pokemon to pick up a knockout, otherwise it can Dazzling Gleam, but that means Feeny surviving. So I'm just going to launch a Muddy Water, or sorry, a Moonblast into Buzzwole and Blizzard. Because if, let's say Koko targets down my Feeny, that's fine, Feeny faints, I get a Blizzard off, and then Pheromosa can close out the game. Arcanine itself can maybe close out the game as well. Because once I get that, like, either attack off, if I get a Blizzard off, then Koko will be probably an E-Speed KO range after the Hail. So, Banned Arcanine, honestly, really underrated set in general. It just applies a lot of pressure offensively, and, like, when a lot of people see Arcanine, they're like, oh, it's going to be the typical variant, you know, either like the Oglav berry or maybe like the bulkier variant. As Coco does launch a Thunderbolt here, it's going to target down that Feeny. That's more than okay with me. I'm fine sacrificing Feeny. Feeny's really done his job at this point, and Buzzwole is not that much of a threat to me due to what I have in the back. So we actually don't see Life Orb come out from Coco, but it's not a Assault Vest Buzzwole either, as both Pokemon now should be in Extreme Speed KO range from my Arcanine. So all I have to do now is bring in Arcanine and bring in Pheromosa. You know, I lost both Pokemon there, but that's perfectly fine. Buzzwole's Beast Boost doesn't really matter too much to me either, and the hail damage is slowly ticking off as well. So, yep, I can just safely bring in Arcanine. Actually, I don't even need to Extreme Speed because Pheromosa outspeeds Coco. Do we see its item, actually? I mean, it can't be Scarfed, right? Because Garchomp, unless it was, like, super, like, yeah. The only other, like, possible scenarios of, like, that Garchomp was, like, max speed and Aerodactyl was, like, min speed, but even with that, like, you would need some, like, that just makes zero sense at all, especially in a team comp like this. And I'm fairly sure that's Specs Coco. So, I'm just gonna launch a Poison Jab into Coco, and, I guess I'll just E-Speed here, yeah. In case Buzzwole can't be faster, I should have just Flare Blitzed. I guess worst case scenario now, Buzzwole survives, gets an attack off, but E-Speed plus Hail I would think knocks it out anyway. Like, I'm fairly confident, even if it hangs on, I win the game. But Flare Blitzing would have just been a safer play because I know I'm faster, and Buzzwole's speed tier is slower. So, that was a slight misplay there. I guess what I was thinking was like, oh, let's say, like, somehow I don't knock out Coco because it protects. Like, yeah, the train of logic I had, like, just didn't make any sense. But this game should still be 100% over. But I could have made a slightly better play here. Just because Flare Blitz guarantees the knockout. Either way, though, I don't think my opponent can really do anything, especially because that Buzzwole revealed that it's not bulky. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Coco's specs, especially on a team comp like my opponent's. Buzzwole actually did manage to hang on there, so yeah, that was a misplay on my end. But Coco didn't protect because, like I said, it's probably specs. But here's the thing, like, let's say Coco protected there, and Buzzwole got an attack off. I'm pretty sure it feints from Hail anyway, and he actually goes for an Ice Punch onto Arcanine. Okay, going for a freeze, I guess. Actually gets it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Buzzwole feints from Hail here anyway, so I would have been fine, but once again, there was no reason not to Flare Blitz, so that was something I could have done better, because I don't know the damage roll on Buzzwole there. I was like, even if I get a min roll, and like Hail should be able to pick up the knockout, which it was able to accomplish there in the end, but yep, no reason not to Flare Blitz and Poison Jab, so a slight misplay there, end up not losing the game, even if Coco protected. You know, I would have just, especially because Buzzwole went for the target onto Arcanine. I'm not sure really what Ice Punch accomplishes there. You probably want to go for a superpower and hope for a critical hit or something. But Pheromosa more or less had the game locked up. Alternatively, I could have just Poison Jabbed the Buzzwole and Extreme Speeded the Coco. Like, there are multiple other ways I could have played that last turn, and I just kind of rushed into it. So it's really important to think through every turn. I did make the best play there in the end, and don't think it could have cost me, but like, you always want to just make the 100% best play. And if you're ever in a position where you're not making the best play, you gotta think about why you didn't choose to make the best play and whether, you know, like, the best play you thought really was the best play or whether it was actually, like, the play you went for actually made some sense. And in the end there, my play didn't really make too much sense. So that is going to conclude it for our time with this team. Pretty happy about it in the end. We did manage to push into the 1800s and pick up 2 wins in today's episode. I'm going to be posting the QR code and the Pastebin in tomorrow's episode, so you can check it out in the description tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And it's been a really fun run with this team, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We even got an article on Kotaku a couple of days ago because of the explosion shenanigans that we saw from the Choice Band Giglet 2 episodes back. Not sure that was really newsworthy, but it was kind of fun to see that, and it brought some more people to the channel, which is always nice. So, thank you guys for watching this episode. As always, if you did enjoy the team and this episode, please share support by leaving a like in the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Alright, peace.